Will all children 16 and under make their way to the front two pews, please? Thank you, choir, for that wonderful musical selection. Thank you, Mom, for that lovely introduction. Good morning, Bethel.
Good morning.
Now I know y'all can do better than that. I said, good morning, Bethel.
Good morning.
God is good.
All the time.
And all the time.
God is good.
Thank you, Reverend Stinson, for relinquishing your pulpit today. Thank you to the Speakers Committee for giving me the opportunity to speak today. Thank you also for the opportunity to speak to the congregation, especially the children and youth, on this blessed Sunday morning. Thank you to my friends and family who came out to support me today. Let me start off my sermon with a prayer. Every eye closed and head bowed. Dear Lord, thank you for waking us up this morning and starting us on our way. If it weren't for you, I do not know where I would be. Thank you for everything that you have done for us and for what you continue to do for us. Thank you for guiding and leading us on the right path that you have planned for us. That path may seem trivial and inconvenient at times, but in the end, we know that it is all part of your plan. Again, thank you, but we know that if we had 1,000 tongues, we still wouldn't be able to thank and praise you for the things you have done for us. Amen.
Amen.
Please stand for the reading of God's holy word again. If everyone could get out their Bible and look at Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. When you have it, say amen. Or I think it's also on the monitor. I will be reading from the King James Version, and it reads, Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Amen. You may be seated. The book of Proverbs has several authors, but the main author was Solomon, the son of David, whose name comes from the Hebrew word for peace, which is shalom. Chapters 1 through 9 are specifically addressed to the younger people because they instruct us in the path of wisdom and provide us with short instructions on how to live an effective life on earth. Young people, we think we know everything, and I can say that because I fall into this category, but unfortunately we don't. But I mean, it's okay though, because when we are traveling to new places, whether it be spiritually or in life, we have a GPS that is always guiding us to the right destinations. Now I'm sure everyone knows how to use a GPS. You tell it your current location and where you want to go. After inputting this information, it will provide you with directions to get to your desired destination. There are different GPSs on the market, but mine is made by the company God's Plan is Secure. The company God's Plan is Secure activated my device on September 13th, 1996, but everyone's activation date is different. But on that day, he knew the coordinates of my final destination along with the directions on how to get there. Sometimes there were updates and upgrades along the way that changed the directions, but they always led me back to my destination. In essence, God knows how, where, and what speed you are going to get to your destination, but it isn't always clear or revealed when we want it to be. Now, by a show of hands, how many young people here have ever used a GPS to get to, say, the movies, a friend's house, or even a party? Great, a lot of you guys have. Now let's look at verse 5 from the text. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding. For each of you, think about what that verse means to you. Excuse me. There are many stories in the Bible of people trusting in the Lord with all their heart. Job comes to mind as he continued to trust in the Lord in the midst of his suffering. The woman at the well trusted in the Lord with just the desire to touch the hem of his garment. Abraham trusted God enough to sacrifice his own son, just like God eventually did. Now, let me share with you what that verse means to me. In 5th grade, I was headed straight out I-20 West to Six Flags, living a carefree and fun kind of life. Then, one day, without advance warning, God recalculated my GPS and sent me through the downtown connector straight to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta for 10 days. The doctors, nurses, and specialists were unsure about what caused my illness, but with the help of prayers from family, friends, and many Bethel church members, my faith and trust strengthened in the Lord. This period marked the beginning of my faith journey, which continues until today, because it showed me the power of prayer and healing. My health condition is being carefully monitored today with medication. My presence here today is testament to God's healing power. God recalculated the route of my GPS to say, skirt, skirt, right turn ahead, which steered me in the direction of medicine as a career. Now let's take a look at verse 6 again. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. The New Living Translation of Philippians chapter 4, verse 6 says, don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank him for all he has done. Or the more familiar King James Version states, be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God, unto God. Another translation from the New International Version says, open my lips, Lord, and my mouth will declare your praise. Even as young as you are, you can acknowledge God's presence. What are some ways that you acknowledge God's presence? Any answers? Any other examples? No? Well, that's a good example. Some other examples are being respectful and obedient to your parents, being kind to one another, thanking God for each new day, thanking him when you eat your meals. These are all ways that you can acknowledge his presence at any age. If you acknowledge his presence, he will always be there to direct you back on your path when you get lost. Now, most of you already know that I run track at Birmingham Southern College. The first 2 years were extremely successful for our team and for me as we placed in the top 8 in the NCAA Division III National Championships in Canton, New York. My dad and grandparents were there to cheer us on to victory. Some other accomplishments from those years were me being honored with an All-American status my freshman year, along with being named Female Athlete of the Year by the Southern Athletic Association my sophomore year. However, last year at conference, a lingering hip injury prevented me from competing in all my events. Excuse me. The team expectation was for me to win the 400 and 4x4, along with placing in the top 3 in the 100 and 200. Unfortunately, those goals were not achieved, and I strongly considered quitting. During those months between last season and this season, I was lost about track. But recently, God's GPS recalculated once again for me, and I have more faith in my team and myself than I've ever had before. The primary lesson here is that we may think we know where we want to go and the necessary steps to take to reach the destination. But as Christians, we know and understand that when God creates a detour in our lives, it's for the best. When the detour arrives, we should lean not to our own understanding, but on our faith and trust that God knows what is best for us. Remember that where we are going is a whole lot more important than how fast we are getting there. Meaning that you may not achieve your goal on your time, but you will always achieve your goals on His time. When you trust in the Lord with all your heart and let your requests be known to Him, eventually you will hear those 5 important words. You have reached your destination. Let me leave you with a few questions to consider as you go on your journey with your personal GPS. God's plan is secure. Where do you want to go in life with God leading you? When was the last time you checked the destination on your GPS? Have you considered an alternate route if traffic is heavy in one direction? Remember to always have positive thinking when your GPS recalculates. Here is a short poem that can help assist you on your journey. If you fail, never give up, because fail means first attempt in learning. End is not the end. End means effort never dies. If you get no as an answer, remember that no means next opportunity. Thank you.
My. Thank you. My. I can tell you that you're absolutely right about how God will move you around, but His plan is secure. As someone who's in his 3rd career, I've tried to move around from place to place, but God always knew He was bringing me here. I didn't always know it, but He always did. So sometimes you have to redirect through traffic to get to where God wants you to go. So thank you for reminding us to trust the Lord with all our heart and lean not to our own understanding, but in all our ways acknowledge Him. And I like those ways you talked about acknowledging Him. Those are simple ways, by being respectful, by being thankful, and by prayer. So not everybody can do all day long. If we did that, we would change our community and we would change our world. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We do this not just so we can say how good we are. We do this because we serve a wonderful, awesome, great God. A God who loves us so much that He came and died for us.